Huge news coming from Brussels today. The EU has just announced plans to downgrade trade ties with Israel and sanction key figures in Netanyahu's far-right government. This is the sharpest rift in EU-Israel relations in decades. Let's break down what it means. So top EU diplomat Kaja Kallas unveiled a package that includes tariffs on nearly €6 billion worth of Israeli goods, the suspension of around €20 million in EU funding for Israeli projects, and sanctions targeting two of Netanyahu's most hardline ministers, Itamar Ben-Gvir, the National Security Minister, and Bezalel Smotrich, the Finance Minister. Israel's government has erupted in fury. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar even accused Ursula von der Leyen, the EU Commission President, of empowering terrorist groups. That's the level of rhetoric we're dealing with in their denial over their genocidal actions. But the EU insists this isn't about punishing Israel itself. It's about pressuring the government to ease the humanitarian disaster in Gaza. Kaja Kallas was explicit. The goal is to improve conditions for civilians, not weaken Israel's right to exist. Now let's be real, these sanctions are more symbolic than devastating. They touch about 37% of Israeli exports to Europe, and they don't touch financial services or financial transactions. But that may be yet still to come if Israel don't move. But politically, this is a thunderclap. The EU is Israel's main trading partner, and this is the first major rollback of EU-Israel trade relations since the free trade deal of 2000. And here's why this matters for anyone who supports a two-state solution. The EU is finally signalling that Netanyahu's hardliners can't have carte blanche while Gaza suffers. Pressure matters, and it challenges the idea that Israel can continue down a one-state, occupation-driven path without consequences. If Europe holds firm, it could be the start of a new kind of accountability. Now the hope is other large nations and trading blocs can follow suit. Global coordination of sanctions and tariffs on Israel of this nature will send a message to Netanyahu that if he continues to act with impunity, he will suffer the economic consequences, which will in turn help apply domestic pressure. Trump is in the UK at present, and the hope is he can also see sense, restrict US aid and apply pressure on his friend Netanyahu. And finally, the British government must follow our EU partners and implement economic sanctions. It is also time to coordinate removing Israel from the F-35 programme. This brutal assault on the Palestinian people must end.